Hey everybody, it's Leslie Tagorda, your brand and leadership astrologer. And today I want to share with you that if you are a change making leader, why you need a message that positions who you serve, a message that sparks your revolution, and how you can use astrology to find your aligned message.
Welcome to Star Powered Astrology for Changemakers. I'm Leslie Tagorda, your guide, a Hawaii born Filipino Jewish astrologer who loves navigating visionaries like you through the spiritual journey of your work so that you can be inspired to lead by your chart and become the luminary leader you were born to be.
Hello, hello, hello. I am here on a podcast role. I just love working with my energy and not really giving myself guilt for not consistently showing up regularly because when I'm on a roll, I'm on a roll and I just have so much to share. It just happens that as we are shifting into this crazy, intense, and fast paced energy of March, I am riding this wave. And so right now, everything is going on here at Star Powered. Jeff and I and Jamira, our newest team member, are super busy. We are like delivering on celestial cycles right now. That's their current 4 week intensive that I have going on in Star Powered Circle. And let me just say, it's been fascinating to just watch people like wake up with ahas as they learn to intentionally work with their cosmic rhythms. It's just so wonderful to, I think that's just like really what astrology does so well is shows us our different seasons and our different rhythms so that we can really work with the flow and impact within those rhythms instead of just working against ourselves. I know that I have saved so much time and energy in just my personal life by tapping into my natural rhythms. And as would have it, this Pisces season, the sun is currently going through my 10th house, my busy harvest season. So, like, all hands on deck right now. We are busy delivering on our ultimate mission. I absolutely love that. And so I wanted to come on today to share with you about your star powered voice. Now, if you are a leader, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a change maker, if you are doing anything where you are making change and persuading people and calling in your people in your change making work, you need a message. And this is where star powered voice comes in. So, today I want to talk about why you need a brand voice and message, what happens when you don't have one, and what happens when you're not using astrology to tap into your aligned voice. The last thing is, I'm going to be sharing some astro keys on how you can tap into your brand voice. And let me tell you, it's more than just tapping into your Mercury. So, the reason why star powered voice is on my mind right now is because as we're delivering celestial cycles, the next 4 week intensive that's coming up in Star Powered Circle is star powered voice. And so star powered voice is the second part of like my master astro brand method where we look at first the positioning, that is like the vision that you have, the what you do so well, the why you do it, who you do it for, and your leadership style. And so that really is encompassed in the positioning. And that all that training is already in the library in Star Powered Circle. And the second aspect is voice. Now, I am not a trained copywriter. However, I know that when I'm tapping into the archetypal energies of astrology, I know exactly the seed of energy that needs to come through in these different parts of the voice. And so, right now, I have all my outlines and all my curriculums, and we're starting to flesh that out because that's what I'm going to be delivering in Gemini season in quarter 2. And I'm super excited because I'm going to be opening the doors again to Star Powered Circle for just 4 days. I'm going to be opening up the doors again for Star Powered Circle for just 4 days. You can join by the quarter. And this second quarter, the intensive, the live 4 week training that's coming in second quarter that we'll be delivering in June is called Star Powered Voice. So totally on top of my mind. And maybe because Mercury, as it's like foot on the gas, it's, getting closer to the sun and it's getting faster and faster and faster. So my thoughts are just racing. So I just have to get everything out right now. But going back to Star Powered Circle, that of course, Star Powered Circle is my inner circle. It's my sanctuary. It's part library. It's part community. It's like all the things that I love about astrology, all poured into one. And we'll be opening it again from March 20th through March 24th. Only for 4 days. I love these really short door openings because I really don't have the kind of capacity and energy to have these like giant long on ramps for launches. I really actually hate launching. So it's like, if you want it, you want it. If you don't, great. I totally respect any, however your decision is. But if you are super interested in getting access to Star Powered Voice when it is delivered live, then this is your chance to get on the wait list. Head over to starpowered.com/waitlist to be notified when the doors open to Star Powered Circle so that you can take Star Powered Voice. Again, this is a 4 week intensive that I'll be delivering where we'll be really going through all of your core messaging, how to find your voice using astrology, putting together all of your main brand messaging and your brand stories, including workshopping your website hero and your website content, looking at your unique value proposition, your brand promise, your brand purpose, vision, mission, goals, values, all of those things. And you can see them in your natal chart. There are very specific keys that you can lean into so that you don't have to be guessing anymore. Now, I mentioned the Astro Brand certification. I've been talking about this for a couple of years. The timing just wasn't right to jump on that. But Star Powered Voice is required if you want that Astrobrand certification. And so this is, again, part 2 of that Astrobrand method and the Astrobrand certification that is coming out very, very soon. So if you ever really wanted to learn how I look at astrology and how I weave them into my leadership and branding practices, then you won't want to miss Star Powered Voice. So again, come into the circle, head over to starpowered.com/waitlist. The doors will be open from March 20th through 24th for quarter 2, which you'll be available on April 1st. All right, so let's talk about this Star Powered Voice. So, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a change maker, if you are a leader of any sort, you need to have a crystal clear voice. And your voice is made up of your message, like exactly like what you're saying, the stories that you're wanting to say. It's made up of your style of that message, like that personality, that vibe that needs to come through. And of course, it has to be really actionable, because if you're looking to spark a revolution, spark some kind of change and getting people to come and follow you and share your stories, you also need a battle cry, a call to action. And so, how do we use, well, before we go into how do we do it, what happens when you don't have one? Now, I've been looking at a ton of astrology charts in my practice. And it's so interesting when we have little Mercury show up. And of course, Mercury is always there, right? We think of Mercury, we know that Mercury's function is as the communication device. Mercury's process in our chart is to express our needs. Mercury has its ability to both receive information, to be able to understand and to perceive and to logic, and or sometimes like intuit, right? If you have that Mercury in a water sign, and to feel. And so, how does the energy or the information come in? And then Mercury also works as an output. How does the energy come out? And so, of course, we can learn just a lot by Mercury, by its sign, by if it has any other aspects to different planets, of course, to the sun, because Mercury is never far from the sun. And so that's why we can think of Mercury as the messenger, because it's always so close to the sun. But Mercury on its own doesn't have its own kind of like modus operandi. Like Mercury isn't out there to deceit the sun. Mercury is in service to the sun. And so the sun, that solar consciousness, is doing its best using Mercury as a device to understand the information that's coming in and to express the information that needs to be shared and go out. And that's really all that Mercury is. Mercury by sign will show you what kind of communication device you have. Of course, Mercury by where it is in its retrograde process, like how fast it's moving, if it's moving direct or if it's moving in reverse. And because Mercury really fluctuates in its speed, because it's like constantly whipping back and forth near the sun, sometimes it's going super fast forward, sometimes it's going super fast backwards, and everything in between. Mercury's speed will also determine just kind of your thought process, how quickly you are to be able to speak on your feet or to think on your feet. And and by sign, it shows us that kind of style of communication. Now, that's just a teeny part about finding your star powered voice. Okay, because there's a whole slew. Like if we think about your natal chart, we know that that third house is the house of your ideals and your ideas, rather not your ideals, because that's the ninth house. Your ninth house is your ideals. Your third house is your ideas. And just when do you use them? And so, oftentimes, if you don't know what you have to say, or you're super confused on, like, there's just so many things that you want to say and you don't exactly know how to get it out clearly, or maybe you don't have like keywords that people are finding you on your website, or you don't have the right hashtags, or you don't have the right succinct message, that you like take forever to say something like, oh, what do you do? And it takes you like 10 minutes to talk about what you do. And I'm putting that out there because like that's totally me. Okay, I'm still learning how to be more succinct. Thank you. And so if you don't have a message, or your message is convoluted, or maybe you're even just afraid to express your needs, we can see that in a chart. And let me tell you, if you're not communicating your needs, or if you're not expressing what you're here to do, guess what? No, that nobody's going to hear about you. Your visibility is going to be non-existent. People will have no idea what you do. People will have no idea how to refer you. People will have no idea what you stand for. And so your message, your brand voice, is all encompassing. Now, what I find more often than not when I meet my clients is that my clients really want to say something. And oftentimes they have no idea where to start. They have so many ideas, they have so many different messages that, some business coach told that, or marketing coach told them that they needed to do things this way, or some marketing coach told them that they needed to do this way. And they're so confused that they don't know what they need to do. Well, this is where astrology comes in. Remember earlier when I was talking about this idea of Mercury as being our input output device to our soul's consciousness? Like it simply is, like an iPhone, a mobile phone, a device that we can gather information, we can send messages, we can like look things up. Now, we all have different types of devices. Now, I have my Mercury in Pisces. Okay. So you might have heard that Mercury in Pisces is at its like fall, because Mercury really does well in Virgo, but it doesn't do well in Pisces. And I want to call bull. Okay. Because I have a podcast here. I have just an influx of ideas. There's just like not enough time to share everything that I want to share. Now, is it sometimes cloudy? Yes, because I have it in Pisces, but I also have Mercury at the tippy top of my chart. And so I know that Mercury in Pisces, that communication device is through Pisces, is through spirit. When I can call and connect to spirit, and because Mercury is the tippy top of my chart, when I can connect to spirit from above, I can channel the things and the thoughts that I need to have come out that are going to have the most impact. So coming back to Mercury, yes, it's really important as to just kind of like the input and the output. But now, what about our greater message? Because how do we tell Mercury what to say? Because again, remember, this is the soul's consciousness, the sun that Mercury is the messenger to. So Mercury doesn't know what your purpose is unless the sun tells it. Mercury doesn't know your values unless Venus and the moon and your second house tell you it. So we need to look at different astrology keys to really the get to the root of what our brand message and voice is. So before I show you a few tips, I'm not going to give away all the secrets because that's when you need to take the class. I'm going to share with you just a few different astrology keys that you can hone into to find these different parts of your brand voice. So let's talk about what that brand voice is first. So when I'm teaching astrology, and this is, of course, everything that we're going to be covering in Star Powered Voice, the first thing that we're going to be looking at is the brand personality. And so this is really just that style of what we're here to do. And so what is that communication style? Are we supposed to be cheery and bright? Are we supposed to be to the point and really succinct? Or are we supposed to be flowery and sensitive? Or are we not supposed to use words at all? And yes, sometimes your brand message, having your clear message, is being expressed without words at all. Imagine that. I mean, I think there's some of you out here that are doing some really amazing things with marketing on a soul level where you're like talking to your people and your highest selves through a spiritual realm. And you know what? It does work. And so there's this thing that we need to do with first finding our brand personality. And our brand personality, we can look at that from a couple of different places on our natal chart. We can look, of course, at our third house cusp. We can look at our Mercury, and those things are going to really show us a little bit about how our vibe and our words come across. So that's number one that we need to do when we're looking at our brand voice. Then the second thing about our brand voice that I like to do, because writing can be really, really hard. I see people get really caught up on writing because when they think that they're putting their writing together, that as everything that comes out on the page has to be absolutely perfect. And that is completely wrong. And one of the reasons why I love teaching about how to write, I am not a trained writer. And, sometimes the results are not exactly perfect. But what I love about writing is just the iteration process, starting off with just all this like brain dump, brain dump, brain dump, and then coming back and refining it. That's one way I like doing writing. The second way I love doing writing, of course, is what I do naturally is in ritual connected to spirit, where I am giving an intention of what I want people to know, what I want people to feel, what I want people to act on, how I want people to feel inspired about. I offer this intention to spirit, and then I channel the information. Oftentimes, before I'm writing, I ask spirit to simply express through me so that we can serve our participants and listeners in the way that they are ready to receive with clarity inspiration, and actionable steps. I always add that actionable steps because the important thing that I want you to take with all of this knowledge is not just to gain knowledge. I want you to do something about it. And so this is really that kind of that writing process. And so when we think about all of these different writing processes and we're putting things on the table, the things that besides the brand personality that we need to know and that style that we have is the first thing we need to know are our brand values. What do we stand for? And so our brand values come from a couple of different places. You know that the second house is our money earned, and it is what we value, how we grow worthiness. But remember, our brand values also come from the moon sign because the moon sign shows us what we need to feel emotionally secure. So we always have to wrap those into our values. Now, if you're an entrepreneur or a leader, you can think about, is this your most of these values are your personal values that you pour into your work. Now, you also have social values. Your social values are kind of like that group collective values, and you can put all of them into the pot and then kind of like and then curate down. Another part of your brand voice, besides your values that you need, is your unique value proposition. Sometimes this is a tagline, but basically, this is a short, like even shorter elevator pitch of what you do so well, your superpower, who you do it for, and the result of that transformation. And so, a lot of this we cover again in Star Powered Position, but putting it together in a succinct, unique value proposition and is also spoken in your unique style and personality is what needs to come through. Now, also part of your messaging is you need your brand promise. What are you really here to do? What is that result upon result that your clients get? So, for example, I was talking with a client just earlier today, and we were talking about her Leo clients and how she helps them find their lioness, their lion-hearted selves, how she helps them find their joy and their confidence. She had Mercury, Pluto, and Uranus all in the seventh house. And so we were talking about how she helps them find their voice, how she helps them break through to create change with that Uranus, and how they need to break down all of their shames and their taboos so that they can build their power with Pluto there. So we had all of these like juicy things in the seventh house that we knew that she was helping with her ideal customers. And she knew that to be true. But now, what happens when people find their voice, when they do those breakthroughs, and when they do those breakdowns? What happens after that? Well, that's the brand promise, the result on top of the result. For her, it was becoming uniquely themselves, knowing exactly who they were and being safe to be. Imagine knowing that result of the result, your brand promise. And yep, you can definitely see that in your astro chart. Now, we have the greater messaging about your brand purpose, your brand mission, and your brand vision. Purpose, mission, and vision. Now, these three things are a little bit more aspirational. These three things are not necessarily, they are going to call in your ideal customers, the one-on-one people that want to work with you, but they're going to also cast a wider net to call in your soul communities and your soul platforms. Because your purpose now, your big why, what is that philosophy that you have and why you do your work that you do? Not the why that comes from the unconscious needs of the moon, but the big dreamscape why. Now, there's lots of different ways to look at that purpose. We can look at the North Node, that soul potential. We can look at Jupiter with the big why, but there is an astro key that if you want to know that, you'll have to join into Star Powered. I'm not going to give you all the things, okay? You'll have to come into Star Powered Voice to really find that purpose. Because once you hone into that astrological key, that gives you that seed. Now, I know that there's people who are really resistant to keywords, but I absolutely love astro keywords. And the reason why I love astro keywords is because I think of them as little seeds, because we can plant these little seeds, and once they sprout, there's an infinite possibilities that can sprout from that seed. So I remember last week when we were doing our new moon intention for Pisces, I gave a breakout exercise for our group. And I talked about Pisces and this idea. There are three words that I wanted people to explore based on that Pisces new moon. There was the ease and flow of Pisces. There was the awe, just like the inspirational awe of the Uranus. There was a little Uranus aspect there. And then there was also Saturn. So we had Pisces, Uranus, and Saturn. And so the word that I chose for Pisces was flow. The word that I chose for Uranus was awe. And the word that I chose for Saturn in Pisces, close to Pisces, was simplicity. And what I did in Breakout was I sent everybody to list three ideas, three definitions, three words that came from the ideas of flow, awe, and simplicity. And I had them meet over what these three words were. And my intention for them was to show that everybody has all of these vastly different ideas, experiences that brought them to these different words, and they shared all of these different perspectives. And so when we're thinking about these key words that are the archetypal energies that we can pull from astrology, you get to choose your keyword that inspires you. So for me, my keyword for purpose is innovation, because my purpose key is Aquarius. And so you know that my purpose here is to spark an intuitive revolution and innovate astrology as a personal and leadership development tool, to bring it out of the woo-woo closet, to bring it out of pseudoscience, to make a really purposeful impact. How's that for a purpose? All based on Aquarius and innovation. Gosh, can you imagine if you had your seed keyword and you could, like, all of a sudden, just blow up your purpose? Now, the same goes for the mission, because your brand mission, your mission here now, if purpose is the why, your mission is the what you're doing right here and right now, to be able to deliver on that big why, to be able to deliver on your superpowers and that transformation that you want to give your ideal customers. Your mission also, yes, we can spend tens of $1,000s on a brand professional to ask us all these questions and do all the data analytics to get to the root of the mission. Or you could know the one astrological key to tap into to bring your mission to life and to specificity. One of just the most beautiful ways or reasons why we use astrology in this branding and leadership and finding our voice and finding our brand message is because of the specificity that astrology gives us. We can't make this up. I know when I do my one-on-one sessions with people, people are just like, oh my gosh, how did you know that was in my mind? It not only it validates people, but it really gives them concrete, direct, specific words to use to be able to share what they do. No vagueness here. And then lastly is the vision. Now, the vision, so if the purpose is the why, the mission is the what you're doing here right now, the vision is the impact that you want to have on the world, the vision of the future that you want to see, that if everything went your way as planned in your work and we rippled forth the impact upon impact upon impact, this is how the future would change. That is your vision. That is your social impact. Now, some of you can see this super, super clearly. If you can see this super, super clearly, you don't need me. But if you want to really hone in or validate or get really specific and stop being vague, like using the words empowerment or transformation or things like that, you can use empowerment and transformation. All you have to do is define what that means to you. But if you have your vision of the future, this is where the magic happens. Because when you get super clear on the vision of the future that you want to see, this is how you call in your people. So my vision is based on Aries, and I have Chiron in Aries right there, right there, and so my vision, of course, is to show that the best leaders are the ones that have healed or have created wholeness and awareness around their wounded leadership. And so my work has really sparked when I had honed into this idea of Chiron's story of the wounded healer into now my Aries, the wounded leader. And so what would this world look like if everybody had awareness of their own hurts and their own wounds and how they navigated the world so that they could work through them and show up as those brilliant, vulnerable, wounded leaders? Not the wounded leaders that are still attacking others because they're being defensive, but those wounded leaders that are completely whole because they had made peace with their hurts and learned that their hurts are actually part of their gifts and their contributions that they're meant to leave in the world. Imagine knowing the power of your vision. Whew. So, those are only little bits of your brand messaging that really become super, super powerful. When we have all of these ingredients in your brand messaging, then this is where we can get more pragmatic about things, where we can start building out some of the core messaging, like your hero, your about us, your brand stories that you want to continue sharing and teaching about. All of those things come from just a seed of your star powered voice. So, my friends, what do you think? Are you interested in really finding your aligned star powered voice? If this is you, please join me for Star Powered Circle in the second quarter. If you're already in the circle, thank you, thank you, thank you for allowing me to guide you so far. Now, if you come into Star Powered Circle and you want to take a part of Star Powered Voice, it's going to be really important that before we deliver Star Powered Voice in June, that you finish the coursework for Star Powered Position, because you really need to ground into the what you do, why you do, the unconscious why you do, how you do, and for whom you do. That is like the starting point. The next piece of the pie, the second piece of the pie, is this Star Powered Voice. Lastly, if you are interested in harnessing these powerful astrobrand methods in your own work, teaching it to your own clients, then please take this and get on the astrobrand certification track so that you can start integrating this powerful work in yours. All right, my friends, I will talk to you soon. Let me know what you think about Star Powered Voice. As a human design projector, my energy shines more brightly because of people like you who share my work. If you enjoy this podcast and want to help build a movement of innovative astrology and leadership and spark the intuitive revolution, please rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts, or better yet, share this podcast with your change-making besties. We will all shine brighter together as we create the future we want to see.